Have you ever scrolled through Instagram or some other type of social media app and you come across a picture of an influencer or one of your friends and you think, why can't I look like them? Social media has become an integral part of our society, and a lot of us can't imagine life without it. And by social media, I mean different platforms such as Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, among other apps that help us communicate with others and to keep up with each other. This provides a means of communication between each other, but it can also hurt us and hurt society. Today, I will persuade you that social media has a negative impact on all of us. Social media, such as social networking sites, can negatively impact our lives by impairing our mental health and reducing social interaction among people. Social media negatively impacts our mental health. Social media can distort our self-image, and we end up comparing ourselves to others, such as influencers, who use apps such as Photoshop to change how their bodies look on the internet. A study on the positive and negative effects of social media from the International Journal of Computer Sciences and Engineering looked at how social media distorts body image in kids and teens. And because of Photoshop and certain influencers changing how they look online, certain kids and teens can be more susceptible to developing certain eating disorders such as bulimia and anorexia. And this shows that we are willing to change our habits and change our bodies because of what we see online. Because of social media, we're pressured to change aspects of ourselves. In an article titled The Psychology of Social Media, it explored self-perception on different apps such as Instagram and Pinterest. And because of this, we are influenced to build new identities. And because of this, our self-esteem is essentially hurt, because our self-esteem doesn't come from the internet, it comes from somewhere within ourselves. But when we try to change ourselves for the internet, we end up building this fake version of ourselves. And social media also causes an increase in certain mental health disorders, such as depression and anxiety. In a United Kingdom survey, they explored what platforms impact youth mental health, which is shown in this graph. So the red apps are what show negative impacts among teens and kids, and the only green one was YouTube. And the other apps are Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And certain things that they measured were things like anxiety and depression and loneliness. So this shows that social media can have a negative impact on our outlook on ourselves, among teens especially. And this also shows that teens are more likely to develop anxiety as a result of social media. An article entitled The Psychology of Social Media shows that teens confront many toxic situations online, such as cyberbullying, which can overwhelm them and can lead to anxiety. So now that you know how social media can impact us inwardly, I'll explain to you how it can impact our outward relationships. Social media can lower the social interaction that we have among people. Yes, social media provides a platform where we can communicate among other people that we don't see very often. But if we abuse this and use this as a replacement for real-life social interaction, it can hurt us. We can end up relying too much on our phones and not immerse ourselves in real social interactions in person. And this can hurt our relationships, because once we see what other people are doing online, we can become jealous of influencers' relationships that they have with other people. And then we can end up comparing ourselves to what we see online and develop unrealistic expectations for ourselves and for the relationships that we have in person. A Psychology Today article discussed how high Facebook usage is associated with breaking up and cheating with your significant other. Yes, this is only a correlation and it's not a causation, so I'm not saying that social media usage can negatively impact your relationships in ways that will lead to breakups and cheating, but there is a relationship between these two type of things, and we should just take into account that we shouldn't be replacing our relationships in person with social media, and we should be taking the time to better our relationships in person instead of just comparing it to what we see online. So, in conclusion, I have shown you the ways that social media can be detrimental to us. It can be good if we use it sparingly, but once we use it and it ends up becoming a huge part of our lives, and it is a place where we can spur jealousy and compare ourselves to others, it can negatively impact us. So something that I've tried recently is social media detoxing, or not going on certain social media apps after a certain time. So this is what happened with my social media usage after I stopped using social media after 7 o'clock. So over on this side, my social networking is 10 hours, and the other side it ended up being a 7-hour average. So my social networking ended up decreasing by about 3 hours. So I encourage you to try this yourself and to see what happens within your own life and see how you can reduce your social media usage and then see how that is reflected into your day-to-day life. For me, it helped me sleep better, and I was able to fill my time with things that I found more productive and fun, such as reading. So I encourage you to try some type of detox and see how that helps you in your life. Now for some questions. So a question that could be asked is, how do I know if I'm spending too much time on social media? So this really this is really different from person to person. Personally, I don't like spending most of my nighttime on social media because then I end up hurting my sleep schedule. So, and then if I'm scrolling through social media and then boredom starts setting in, and when I know I'm scrolling just because I'm bored and I'm looking to fill my time, that's when I personally know that I'm spending too much time on social media. And then another question, how can I reduce my social media time? This really just depends on you. If you want, you can try like detoxing for an entire day, so just putting away your phone or just certain apps for an entire day, or maybe for a certain amount of hours. Personally, what I've been doing recently is not going on certain apps after 7 p.m., so like Instagram and Twitter, and I also do YouTube, but to each their own. Whatever apps you have been using a lot and that you think you're overusing, you can cut out, and then you can see what happens with your life. And of course, you can start out small by just cutting it out at night like I'm doing, and then you can even increase it to maybe go days or maybe like a weekend at a time. And something that also helps is replacing that time with something else. So I like to read, so I will read instead of going on my phone, or even just taking that time due to the homework that you're maybe procrastinating on, or painting or drawing or going on a hike or hanging out with friends, whatever works best for you.